In this short video, we're going to talk a bit about the Australian dollar. It looks to weaken quite strongly against the euro and the British pound. This is the euro versus the Aussie dollar, and you can see here that we're stuck in an ascending triangle. You can form that pattern when you have a horizontal level like this, where the price has touched several times, and also you have to use an upward trending trend line like this one here. We can measure the midpoint, we can measure the base. I decide usually to measure the midpoint, and it suggests that the price can trade as high as 160. But for that to happen, we need to trade about 152.87. When I like to trade on a break to the horizontal level with a stop loss just below the breakout candle, which would mean that a stop loss on this would go below 151.62, giving us a risk to reward ratio of about 5.82 if we would trade all the way up towards that target. Now, this pattern on its own is not necessarily of very high quality, just because the horizontal level here doesn't add up perfectly. You can clearly see this level capped the price here on May 9 and here on May 11th, but here we actually pushed a little bit above it, and here as well we did try to trade above it on June 22nd, but at that time the market actually failed. So it's not necessarily a perfect pattern. But when we look at GBPAUD, you can see that you're looking at something similar. This is also an ascending triangle, and here the important level is 178.57. But we can see here that this is lagging a bit. So if EURAUD breaks, maybe this is gonna break out maybe 1 day or 2 days later. But the fact that they're showing the same pattern is actually really interesting, because that strengthens the likelihood of success. If it was just down to EURAUD on its own, I would probably not have traded it. The other thing as well is that we do know that we're dealing with a bit of risk off, a little bit of stress in the markets. And if we push forward, lower crude oil prices, lower base metal prices like copper, for example, all of that influences the Aussie economy in a negative way. So from a macroeconomic point of view, it is likely as well that the Aussie dollar will underperform going forward. Let me know what you think in the comments.